Hi, everybody. My name is Mary Bear Shannon. I'm a reference librarian at the Haverford Township Free Library, and here's today's Reading with Reference. I have two books by the same author, Elizabeth Acevedo. This book, With the Fire on High, I just finished. It was excellent, and you can get it on Libby and Hoopla. Set in Philadelphia, the story centers on Imani Santiago, a teenage mother who has beat the odds and is still in school and about to start her senior year at a charter high school. She has a lot on her plate, a daughter to care for, her abuela to help support, and schoolwork to stay on top of it, along with navigating relations with her baby's father, Tyrone. The one place that she can let her responsibilities go is in the kitchen, where she adds a little something magical to everything she cooks. Still, she knows she doesn't have enough time for her school's new culinary arts class, doesn't have enough money to go on their class trip to Spain, and shouldn't still be dreaming of someday working in a real kitchen. But even with all the rules she has for her life and all the rules everyone expects her to play by, once Imani starts cooking, her only real choice is to let her talent break free. I loved this book. I loved that it was set in Philadelphia. I love that it gave a multi-dimensional and a voice to a teenaged mother. I love that it celebrated food as a positive force in the main character's life. I loved the way Imani navigates between her different backgrounds, African American with Southern roots and Puerto Rican, to forge her identity and not to be pigeonholed into a box. I love that it did not wrap up everything at the end of the story. I think often YA books, there is just one outcome, and that is the teen was going to follow a traditional path and go to a four-year college. And that was not the case here. I like the way Acevedo delved into the complications of Imani's life and the very difficult choices that she has to make given her circumstances of having a child and an aging grandmother. So I talked about this next book by Acevedo at our Book Bites luncheon, The Poet X, and I think it's definitely worth repeating. A young girl in Harlem discovers slam poetry as a way to understand her mother's religion and her own relationship to the world. It's a debut novel by Acevedo. The book is written in verse and depicts 15-year-old Xiomara, and she is used to standing out. She is tall with, quote, a little too much body for a young girl. She is harassed by boys, grown men and girls for how she looks, and she responds with her fists. Her very Catholic mother always thinks the worst of her and assumes she is doing something wrong as a girl. Xiomara only feels like herself and heard in her poetry. Poetry is where she channels her feelings, passions, and dreams, all in a leather notebook. Xiomara is encouraged to join a slam poetry club at school, and it opens up a world for her that values her poetry, her thoughts, and her feelings. Performing her poems at competitions are a cause of great pleasure and achievement, but puts her on a collision course with her mother that is hell-bent on her obeying the laws of the church. The novel is written in verse, a series of short poems, creating a 15-year-old slam poet's diary. It took me a while to get into the rhythm of reading free verse slam poetry, but after a while I was drawn into the story, and the poetry helped read her emotions that could not be expressed in any other way. Poetry helped name emotions that a 15-year-old would not be able to articulate in any other way. I read this book, but I have heard that it is highly recommended to actually listen to this on an audiobook because of the lyrical nature of the way it is written. So, and the good news is you can get it on Libby and Hoopla, just like With the Fire on High. So those are my picks for today for Reading with Reference. They're both excellent, and I highly recommend them. So have a great day, and I'll see you soon.